Welcome back to episode 26 of the Show Me Show podcast. We have a great show today. NFL is back. We have a complete week one recap in our new style, kind of. Then we have a little bit of NFL predictions since we didn't get the predictions episode out, but these predictions were made before the NFL season started, and we didn't change them at all. I promise. We definitely didn't. And then we have Cardinals talk at the end. Albert Pujols being an absolute menace. Tying all kinds of records and passing people on the all-time home run chart, getting closer to that 700 mark. And that is all on this week's episode. So let's get right into it. All right, since we don't have an intro now, we really get right into it.
Yeah, for real.
With the new style. So me and Cam talked beforehand. We're going to do like a quick recap of each game here. So do you have a timer pulled up on your computer, Cam?
I don't have a timer. Okay. I just have the list of teams that.
Okay, we'll just pull up like a timer on Google or something.
Okay, hold on. See here.
All right. I got mine up if you want me to go first.
Fuck, where is it at?
Just type up 30-second timer.
Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, I'm trying to find all the scores, so I just have them in front of me. What is it, 30 seconds? Is that what you want?
30-second timer. So each game we'll get 30-second recap, and we'll just like rattle them off. And then afterwards, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the cooler games and stuff like in more detail. So,
okay. All right, so welcome to week one. We had Falcons and the Saints, and this one was an all-time Falcons choke fest. As per usual, at home, the Falcons were up 16 going into pretty much the fourth quarter. I don't know if it was exactly 16 going into the fourth, and Jameis only had like 60 passing yards, but he rattled off famous Jameis in the second half, and the Saints got the win, 200 passing yards all in the fourth quarter for Jameis, and they came back to beat the Falcons. So, yeah, 27-26 final in Atlanta.
Next up, we have the Browns at the Panthers, Baker Mayfield revenge game. It didn't start off so good as the Browns came out to an early 17-7 lead. The Panthers fought all the way back, though, to take the lead, ultimately 24-23. And then the Browns, with less than 2 minutes left, go down. Cade York, I do believe is his name, kicks a game-winning 58-yard field goal to take the Browns victorious in the Baker Mayfield revenge games 26-24.
Yeah, well, that brings us over to Chicago, where it was just a monsoon. The field was a giant sloppy mess. It was actually embarrassing. So it's a good thing that they're moving to Arlington when they rebuild their stadium. But the Bears were able to score 19 points all in the second half after not scoring any in the first, and they get the win over the 49ers 19-10. And Trey Lance was not good in the passing game, but Justin Fields had one or two big plays, and that's all it took for the Bears to get the win. They win 19-10.
And we head down to Houston, where the Texans will take on the Colts in an AFC South matchup. And it wouldn't be week one if we didn't have any ties. And, of course, it was the Texans. Texans jump out to an early lead. Ultimately, they were up 20-0 at one point. And the Colts fought all the way back to tie it before going into overtime, where it was just a dud fest. No one could score. And we have our first tie of the NFL season, 20-20.
All right, so now we're going to head on over to Cincinnati. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, week one. Always a good week one matchup when these two get together in the division. And it was not looking good for Joe Burrow as he tossed 4 interceptions today. But some bad news for the Steelers. TJ Watt probably tore his pec. This game actually ended up going into overtime because the Steelers' offense is just an absolute shit box. Mitch did not play good throughout the game, but when it mattered in overtime. He led a 8-play, 45-yard drive, and they kicked a game-winning field goal after both teams missed field goals in overtime. Chris Boswell kicked a 53-yarder, and the Steelers got it done in Cincinnati.
Now we have the Commanders and the Jaguars in a battle of some really bad teams. Carson Wentz, though, in his Commanders debut, throws for 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards to lead the Commanders to victory, 28-22, and helps to a late touchdown deep pass to Terry McLaurin and some turnover magic by the Commanders defense, picking off Trevor Lawrence at the end of the game, and that 28-22 is the final in that one. Cam, you're muted.
My bad. So we head down to Miami, where the Hurricanes were victorious last night, but it's the Dolphins and Patriots who are in action today. And it was kind of a really bad show of offense by both teams, but Tua threw a slant, imagine that, to Jalen Waddle, and he took it the distance kind of late in the game to secure the game. And, yeah, the Dolphins get a Week 1 victory over the Patriots, and the Patriots do not look good. We talked about that earlier this in the season for the preseason. Their offense looked bad, and it showed today. So, yeah, Dolphins win. Let's see if I can get a score here that I did not have right. 20-7.
Yeah. Next, we head to the Motor City in Detroit, where the Lions sold out their crowd for the first time in multiple years, where they will take on the Eagles and NFC East favorites there. The final score is 38-35 in a shootout matchup. Eagles they were clicking on all cylinders on offense today. Lions, however, had that dog in them. They wouldn't give up in the fight. They came back time and time again to make it close, but ultimately the Eagles go for it on a 4th and 1 to clinch the game and win it 38-35, as I said previously.
All right, then we head to MetLife Stadium, where the Jets took on the Ravens, and this one was not pretty, to say the least. The Jets had to start Joe Flacco here on 9/11, which was a tough scene in the least because he did not do anything until the very end of the game when they scored a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, was betting on himself, kind of like Aaron Judge, and he threw 3 touchdowns, one 70-yard bomb to Rashad Bateman, and Devin Duvernay had 2 touchdowns as well, as the Ravens got the victory 24-9 in MetLife.
Now we head to the Packers game, my Packers, where the annual Week 1 tradition now of getting blown out continued in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins threw for a lot of touchdowns. I don't have the stats in front of me, but he looked really nice. Justin Jefferson went off for 180 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, 10 receptions. If you draft him in fantasy, congrats, because he's a beast. The new Kevin O'Connell era is underway in a very good way, as the Vikings will take the NFC North lead from the Packers 23-7. You're muted again, I think.
Hold on. ESPN is making some weird noises.
What do you mean?
Okay. Anyway, in Arizona, we went, and it was a really rough showing for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. They only put up 21 points against the Chiefs, but Mahomes looked great, and they really didn't seem to miss a beat without Tyreek Hill, who also played good today for the Dolphins, but he was finding everybody, and it was actually the preseason sensation Fortson that caught a touchdown. Kelsey caught a touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 2 touchdowns, and the Chiefs won 44-21, and Mahomes looked great. So they're probably going to be really good again this year.
And for another West matchup, we have the Raiders and the Chargers divisional matchup. High hopes for both of these teams going into the season. But it's the Chargers emerging victorious in this one, 24-19 over the Raiders. In Devontae Adams' debut, he had over 140 receiving yards and a touchdown. Packers could use that. Justin Herbert's nice as he goes 26 of 34 with 3 touchdowns in his hopeful MVP campaign this year for the Chargers. And that is the final in that one.
And then we head out to the Giant Tits game where we actually have Nashville was packed for this game. The stadium looked very packed at Nissan Stadium, and the Giants came to play actually, but it didn't start anything in the first half until we got to the second half, though. Saquon came alive, and he ripped off 2 really long runs, almost housed like a 70-yarder, and then he had another 40-yarder, and Saquon had 164 yards today, and I think 2 touchdowns, and the Giants went for 2 when they tied it up, or when they were going to tie it up, and took the lead 21-20 with a shovel pass to Saquon, and then Fat Randy. Tannehill marched the Titans down the field, and Fat Randy missed a 44-yard field goal, and the Giants win Week 1 against the Titans, the number 1 seed in the playoffs last year, and the Giants finally went on opening day, just like the Browns, for the first time since 2010.
Wow, I didn't realize it had been that long. That wraps up the quick recap, I guess, as the Sunday night game is currently not over right now. It just started the second half for us here. But I think one game that we didn't talk about yet, Bills-Rams, the opener to the NFL season, really took place on Thursday night. What a game that was. I mean, the Bills just came out. They're the Super Bowl favorites, and they just came out and dominated on all cylinders. The first drive, they just went down and scored with ease. Then the Rams kind of a little bit of push. You know, they forced some turnovers on defense. Then they put a little bit of offense on the board. They tied it up before halftime. But then the Bills, it was just all Bills from there on out. Josh Allen looked flawless.
Did the Rams score in the second half?
No. Shut out in the second
So
half.
was the final 31-10?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. I know the Rams forced like 3 turnovers in the first half, and then after that it was just kind of a beatdown.
Yeah.
Josh Allen beat down, really. I mean, he started uncorking some balls in that game, and the Bills kind of ran away with that one. But that one was really interesting because the Rams, you know, they lowered their banner into the stadium, the first one really in that stadium, because obviously the Chargers didn't do anything. Yeah, and first Super Bowl banner, you know, I don't know if it was ring night or whatever, but I mean, they just got stomped in the second half. And what was even worse was, and this happens pretty much every time that there's a game in LA for football, but there was more Bills fans. Yeah, Bills Mafia, you know, came to play, and it was louder when the Rams were on the field on offense than when the Bills were on the field for offense. And, so that was a tough look, but that's also the average look for the Rams games. If there's a strong fan base, like if the Packers went and played the Rams, you know, there's probably going to be more Packers fans in the stands that actually like care and will cheer than there will be Rams fans that will be up and cheering. And the same kind of goes with the Chargers too. Raiders fans really showed out today, but as we said earlier, Chargers actually got the win. But yeah, I mean, they say whose house, Rams house, or some shit like that.
Definitely not. No, it's the visiting team's house.
Yeah, I think I saw Stephon Diggs actually posted something pretty funny. He was like, "Mi casa es su casa," you know, when the Bills came to play. So, and he was right. Like I said, I mean, Bills Mafia overtook the Rams fans. So, and propelled the Bills to a big win. So.
Another tough look for the Rams is that Odell Beckham Jr. was there to raise the trophy before the game, and after the game, he tweeted, "Man, the Bills look nice."
Yeah.
So just to add insult to injury for them. But honestly, it didn't affect my outlook on the Rams. I still think they're going to be a really good team. I have them as the 1 seed in the NFC still. I just think the Bills are that good, and they have a chance, I think, to go undefeated this year. Like, I think that's their goal. They're that good. The prediction that I can align them most with is the 2016 Cubs. Hadn't won a World Series in forever. They had been slowly building this up. The year before, they made it to the championship series, and they played really well. They just didn't quite have enough. They went out and they signed a few pieces in the offseason. The next year, everyone's like, they're the World Series favorites. It was kind of like a consensus that this was the year that they were going to do it. And they ultimately went out and they won the World Series. This is exactly how I feel with the Bills. They've been building this up for years and years now. Last year, they were so close. They were just right there. They were just missing a little bit on defense. What did they do? They went out, they got Von Miller. They got some cornerbacks in the draft. I think they filled those defensive holes. And if they're the Super Bowl favorites, everyone's in a consensus that they're going to win. And I really think they're that good.
Yeah, and it's kind of been a trend over the past few years. You know how we always talk about how when everybody is high on a team, then that team usually loses. But when you think about it, over the past couple of years, as soon as Tom Brady got to Tampa Bay, we were like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're loaded, because they were loaded, and they went and won the Super Bowl. Last year, when the Rams got Matt Stafford, and we knew that Aaron Donald was coming back, and then they signed Odell, we were like, the Rams are going to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and then they did. And then if you think even 3 years ago, the Chiefs were coming off a season in which they probably should have won the Super Bowl, but Dee Ford was offsides. And we were like, the Chiefs are probably going to win the Super Bowl this year. And they won the Super Bowl against the 49ers. So it's fans have actually kind of been on their A game in terms of hyping up teams and predicting the Super Bowl winners. But if any team was to lose a Super Bowl or not even get there, it would be the Bills, because, if you know anything about the Buffalo Bills history, just tremendously sad playoff history. The 4 falls of Buffalo, 4 straight Super Bowl losses, and just other playoff woes.
Including one of those Super Bowl losses with a game-winning field goal miss. So
Yeah.
I think that was the first one.
Would. 2 of those Super Bowl losses to the Cowboys, actually, who are on right now, but so if somebody was to break the little streak here of predicting, hyping up teams to win the Super Bowl, it would be the Bills. But yeah, they just look so good. And I think if they would have played the Bengals last year instead of the Chiefs, they probably would have won. I don't know if they would have beaten the Rams, but who knows, They looked way improved on that, because, the Rams had Von Miller, and now the Bills have Von Miller. So, things like that, and the Rams just looked really good last year.
Von Miller looked nice in this game too.
Oh yeah,
he had a few sacks, and he was always a presence right there. So
the whole defensive front played pretty solid. The Rams did not run the ball. Yeah, Kyrie
and the linebacking core of Edmonds and Milano played well too. Their whole defense was just balling out.
Yeah,
and then offense, you had Diggs and Allen just going off, and
Gabe Davis was electric again, right where he
Isaiah
left
McKenzie
off.
had a touchdown.
Yeah, fuck that guy, but yeah,
amazing.
If they just had a stud running back, and Devin Singletary played all right, and they have Zach Moss, but if they just had a stud running back, also James Cook fumbled on his very first NFL carry, so that was not good for him. But,
Kareem Hunt scene,
yeah. So yeah.
All right, so some other exciting games today. We can talk about the Steelers, I guess, because it was exciting in some ways and it was boring in other ways, but ultimately it was just chaos. And it reminded me of a college football game, honestly. That's the only way I can describe it as. Just wild. I saw the score, and it was Steelers 17-3, and I was like, Bengals having a Super Bowl hangover here, but they came back, and I thought they were going to win. They scored that touchdown with no time left to tie the game, and then all it takes is an extra point. But nope, Minkah Fitzpatrick blocked it. Very similar to the LSU-Florida State game that happened last week. And then it goes to overtime, and no one scores for quite a while anyway, until Boswell hit a very clutch field goal. So,
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy game as a Steelers fan, but I say this all the time. You kind of get used to it. Like Steelers games always come down to the last possession, pretty much over the past couple of years. Um, uh, North Carolina football games always come down to just like this week came down to the last possession. So I'm kind of become accustomed to it. Usually when Mizzou was decent, their games come down to the last possession as well. So as a football fan, you get used to it. Not that it becomes any
It's a
less
fun game.
stressful, but yeah. So yeah, the Steelers' defense though today was amazing. It was funny actually. Chase Claypool actually posted something online that was actually funny for once and not dumb. He just took a picture of himself in the locker room and just said, "Thank you, defense." For that
Thank you,
win.
Minka. Minka carried that game.
I mean, Minka was awesome, but I mean, Alex Highsmith had 3 sacks. TJ Watt had a sack, and then he also had an interception, but we'll get to that here in a second. He could be out for the year.
They're listing 3 to 4 months on it.
Yeah. Well, that was NFL rumors, and there was actually a funny comment in the comment section of that post. It was like sources, and it just said, "Dude, trust me." So that is the NFL rumors guy, but yeah, it could be 3 to 4 months. Although JJ Watt, I'm pretty sure, tore his pec.
He tore everything.
Tore his
labrum,
pec,
his
last
pec.
year, and he came back.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but the Watts get hurt all the time, so that's one thing to keep in mind. It's just like, imagine if they never got hurt, like both sides, like the career that JJ Watt had as a Houston Texan, but add on like way more sacks and who knows what else, because he was just hurt a lot towards the end, and still gets hurt now a lot. I don't know if he played today or not, and TJ Watt has obviously had injury issues as well. But I mean, they had to re-sign him. He's the best player on the team. So, but yeah, Steelers defense cooked. Mitch was really bad most of the game, honestly. He was missing George Pickens when George Pickens was winning his battles and getting open, and he just wasn't doing anything. Najee didn't do anything, but at the end of the day, it was on the offensive line. They were really shitty. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything.
Bengals offensive line looked really bad too.
Oh yeah, Bengals offensive line was terrible too.
So the new improvement.
I mean, Mitch is one thing about Mitch, and so is Joe Burrow. Obviously, we saw it. That's actually how TJ Watt tore his pec. They're both able to move around in the pocket. And I think that's why the Steelers went after Mitch, because you went from a microwave and Big Ben to Mitch, who can actually move and run around a little bit. But yeah, Mitch was just not good until
he's surprisingly mobile.
Yeah, I know he doesn't come off as a guy that would be super mobile. He kind of just looks like a statue. But yeah, he was mobile, and on that last drive, like I said, 8 plays, 45 yards, and he got him into field goal range. And Chris Boswell nailed it the second time around. And the first time around, he also almost nailed it, but it doinked off the upright. It kind of like curved in and then curved out. It was a wild kick. So, yeah.
It's weird. A chaos-filled game, and it just would not end. Like, the afternoon slate of games was starting, and on Red Zone, they're just like, this game will not end. You have to get it over with. They're almost getting annoyed with it, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was also just a wild week 1 sequence where we had Houston and the Colts. It was a 2020 overtime game, and the Steelers-Bengals was a 2020 overtime game, the score being. And both teams, I'm pretty sure the Texans were up 20-7. So the Steelers were up
20-3. They were up
20-3. Okay.
I think I said 20-0 in the recap, but it was the Colts had a field goal.
Okay. And the Steelers were up 17-3 most of the game. So both teams came back, and then it was a 2020 overtime. So that was kind of interesting.
But yeah. Well, I mean, in the Colts game, it was 20-6, and then they went down and scored a touchdown, and then the Texans fumbled like 2 plays later, and then the Colts went down. So it was just like an instant flip right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny, that a week 1 tie though, that doesn't involve the Browns.
Yeah, that is something the Browns would do, but
I think some other games we could talk about, the Chiefs and Cardinals. Patrick Mahomes just went off, as you'll see later in the preview. He was my pick for MVP. I knew Tyreek Hill, whenever he left, I knew it wouldn't affect Patrick Mahomes that much at all, and it didn't seem to, really. He threw 5 touchdowns, 300 yards. He's just incredible.
Yeah.
They take care of business in the desert.
Yeah. And that I do think that the one play that Mahomes will miss Tyreek Hill on is just the fuck shit play, where the play's been going on for 10 seconds and Tyreek Hill is just eventually gets open deep down the field because, a cornerback can't cover Tyreek Hill for 10 seconds. And then Mahomes would find him. They don't have that kind of speedster on the team and guy that gets open, but it didn't really matter today. Juju fumbled. I did see that, but he still caught some passes. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked good today. So I'm kind of happy about that.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, although he did kill a guy in college in self-defense. We always like to bring that up. But
yeah.
Dude, he has that dog in him. What do you think about it?
Kind of, yeah. He's primed for a good season this year, I think.
Oh, yeah, after a down year last year.
Yeah.
So
and then the Packers this seems to be a week 1 tradition now. Like, we're just establishing an annual event of week 1. Go on the road and just get blown out by the other team, just completely dismantled. Last year it was a 35-3 loss. Everything looked bad there. Offense looked atrocious, and then the defense looked really bad as well. Jameis was carving us up. This year it was just the offense that looked bad, and then on the other side it was literally just Justin Jefferson being Justin Jefferson and the best receiver in the league that he is. And the Kevin O'Connell offense actually doing pretty good. But really, it was the Packers. We knew coming into this that the receivers were going to be bad, but I don't think any of us had any idea that they were going to be this bad. It was just atrocious. We couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field because Rodgers didn't have the trust. Tanyan had a few plays. Cobb had a few plays. Other than that, it was literally just Dylan and Jones carrying the team.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to point out is, I've played football before and I understand momentum swings and stuff. Christian Watson dropping that first play touchdown of his career, pretty much that first play on offense for him, that really hurt. If they get that play, the offense feels like it's in a little bit of a rhythm. But they don't end up scoring till sometime in the second half. And he was wide open, and Rodgers throws a perfect pass, MVP type pass, like he does,
like 50 yards down.
Yeah,
just dropped it right in the breadbasket.
Yeah, he literally went through like if Christian Watson made a hand bucket with his arms, it would have went right through. It was an amazing throw, and he just dropped it, and it was an embarrassing drop too.
It was so bad because it was like one of the first plays of the game. And if you start off your career burning a receiver like that, going 75 yards to the house, you're instantly just a legend. And then you have the confidence of a mountain. You can just do anything at that point. And instead, it goes right through his hands, and then he feels awful. And Rodgers actually doesn't even throw to him until the fourth quarter. So, but I ultimately I think he's still going to be good. I think he'll actually learn from this, and it'll make him a better player. But yeah, that's a tough way to start off a career and a game, really. And like you were talking about with the momentum swings.
Yeah.
After that, you could just tell Rodgers is like, here we go. You could just tell the look of disappointment on his face. And he's like, this is going to be a long year. And it is if we continue to play like that on offense. Because it wasn't as bad as watching Mizzou, but it was still pretty bad.
I don't know if you guys are at home next weekend or not, but they need it. The Viking Stadium, beautiful stadium, by the way. I love that stadium. But it was electric, and just hearing the skulls all throughout the stadium. And Rodgers was just getting tossed around. He got sacked 4 times, plenty of QB hits too. Not to mention the little lick that Zadarius Smith put on him. kind of just like
a friendly.
a friendly love tap that sent Aaron Rodgers flying. I mean, it was not a
Yeah.
love tap, but in football it kind of was.
Yeah.
So
We are at home at Sunday Night Football against the Bears next week, so that'll be good. That'll be a great way to get back on track
That is
at home against the Bears.
You guys need that. You guys definitely need that. But although I will say, Bears defense played good today, but it was against Trey Lance in a monsoon, so it's kind of that game is like completely unjudgeable because you can't really judge Fields really either passing because the ball was so wet there. Literally, when everybody gets tackled, you just see this big puddle fly up in the air on the screen. It was just disgusting. I don't understand why they don't have turf, honestly.
It was kind of like the Bills-Patriots game last year. Like when it was super windy, you just throw everything out. Like whoever wins gets a win, nice. But if you're trying to like use that as predictions for like the next week, it just don't even bother. It's an anomaly.
That game was an anomaly. It reminds me of the Eagles-Lions game from years and years ago when Shady McCoy kind of ran all over Calvin Johnson and the Lions. But there was about like a foot of snow pretty much dropped on their face during the span of the game. And it was awesome to watch on television, an all-time game. But, it's kind of like that. It's an anomaly. It's just like random. You just can't really take anything from it. Besides maybe grit and motor stuff and mechanics and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of good on offense from either teams, really.
Yeah, and one more thing about the Packers game. It was just a tough scene seeing Zadarius Smith in the purple, and I hate to admit it, but he looked good. He looked good in the Vikings purple. Whenever you said that, it reminded me of it. So
yeah, Vikings uniforms. I've always been a fan of the Vikings uniforms ever since they kind of designed them a little bit when they got their new stadium. Just kind of tinted it a little bit differently. I think they look nice. So
yeah, and I think some of the other games we can skip. The Falcons blow another lead. Jameis with a nice comeback there. That was kind of funny. I remember when they went up by 16 points, like at the end of the third quarter, and I was like, "Wow, this is a perfect like score line, like that you'd see on like a meme." Like, oh, I cannot believe they blew this game. I was like, I could totally see it happening, and then boom, next thing you know, Saints come back and win with a game-winning field goal. And then,
I'll say this, I'm a Jameis fan from hell. I mean, I just root for Jameis like no other. But I did not think they were coming back in that game, even with, the Falcons' history of blowing games. They just weren't doing anything on offense at all, and the Falcons' defense looked really good, and then some kind of switch flipped. And like I said, Jameis only threw for like 60 yards through the first three quarters, and he threw for 200 plus and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So I have no idea what happened there. And even on the kick, the Falcons put themselves in a position to win the game. And the Young Hoku kick got blocked, and their special teams unit all day had been really good. So that, kind of wild, that the special teams gave one up there too. But yeah, I was not expecting that comeback, but they did it. So
I can't say I was expecting it myself, but I wasn't exactly surprised when I saw it because the thought did occur to me. And then the last game that we have to talk about, the Giants. Wow. I mean, this just came out of nowhere. I think we kind of figured that the Titans weren't going to be as good this year as they were last year, but I don't think we expected this at all. I mean, this is just, it's sad, honestly, to see this happen because I do believe the game was in Tennessee.
Yeah, it was in Nashville, the Giant Tits game. Man. And at Nissan Stadium. And like I said, it was a packed crowd. They were ready to go. I thought Vrabel would have the guys ready to go, but I have no idea what happened. I mean, Tannehill led them right down the field pretty much at the start of the game, threw a touchdown to Dontrell Hilliard on a seam route, and that was not a whole lot of offense after that. And the Giants, they didn't score in the first half, much like the Packers. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. And then it's not like Daniel Jones was good today either. He really wasn't. but Saquon is back. He's healthy right now, and Saquon is back. 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, key 2-point conversion play to win the game. And I just tip my cap to Brian Dable for going for it. I have no idea why he went for it. He doesn't really gain a whole lot by going for it because there was still a minute left on the clock. And by the way, the Titans drove right down the field and got into field goal range off a beautiful Tannehill pass. But like I said, Fat Randy missed the field goal on a weekend of where kicks were just missed left and right, around college football and the NFL. But I still can't believe he went for 2 there.
Yeah, I love it. I love just showcasing like, hey, I'm here to win. We're here to win this game. Let's go out and do it. Winners got to make big plays in a game, and they went out and they made some big plays. Sterling Shepard had a big play. Saquon had some big runs ultimately with that. So fantasy owners finally that love Saquon for years are finally getting this. But really, the kicking, man, oh man, all weekend today in the NFL, really just all season, because last week in college football, there was so many missed kicks too. So just tough scene right now for kickers around football because it's not easy. It is not easy to do, and we're seeing that right now.
Yeah.
Even some of the best, like Evan McPherson, who we thought was going to be good this year, he missed some.
You saw, we were texting on our Twitter chat all day long about football, and I was just like, yeah, there's just no way he misses this one. He's so good, and he was super good during the playoffs last year. And, he just, they just shank some of these from time to time. It's insane. And college kickers is a whole nother subject. Those guys are obviously not professionals, and it shows every weekend, but especially last weekend. Yeah, true. They're just kids.
Yeah, you can't make fun of them. They're just kids. They're just there to have fun.
Although they probably are getting paid NIL now, so
can probably only the good ones
a little bit more.
If Mevis misses a big kick, then you make fun of him because he'll be in the league one day. But
oh yeah, that brings up another thing. I saw Andrew Mevis at the Mizzou football game that I went to a couple weeks ago. The guy that missed the kick for the Jaguars,
the Cowboys coach.
Yeah, in the preseason camp, and hit the Cowboys coach in the head, and knocked him down, and then they just cut him, which is kind of just a wild story. I don't know how he must have been missing all kinds of kicks or they were just like, this is just, I have a gut feeling after missing that kick, we need to cut this guy. But yeah, I saw him at the Mizzou game.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we can move on to our NFL predictions. I think we talked about having like a preseason episode, but then we just never got around to it. So I think we can just kind of like say our playoffs predictions and then like our Super Bowl predictions and stuff just to get out ahead of the curve, throw it out there kind of like we did for MLB. You want to go first?
Yeah, I have a little bit more in depth. I have my full division preview, but I'll just rattle off mine, and then you can I'll rattle off a division, and then I'll let you say who you think will win that division as well.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start in the AFC East. We're gonna do all AFC first here. AFC East, I have
start with the North.
Bills winning the AFC East again.
Okay.
Dolphins coming in second, Patriots third, and the Jets in fourth place in the AFC East. We saw today
the exact same order.
You do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots today were really, really bad. But this was written a week and a half ago, but it showed again today.
It reaffirmed it. Yeah. I wrote mine earlier this week.
So yeah, Bills gonna win. I think the Dolphins might somehow make the playoffs. We'll see though. They might get excluded. AFC North, I have the Ravens winning the AFC North, and then I have the Bengals in second, the Steelers in third, and the Browns in fourth. Which might be controversial.
Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns.
Yep.
I have Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers, which may be it's hard for me to put the Steelers last because I know they're always so consistent and the defense is good, but I truly think that they're just the worst team in that division. And that I'm basing it on talent alone in this. And that is why I have it in that order, which would not make sense because if I was basing it on talent alone, I'd have the Bengals first. But something inside me is just like they're the Bengals and, they can't have sustained success. So I have them as a wild card, but I have them finishing second. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be just on a revenge almost tour here, kind of like Aaron Judge was. He declined. News came out today, he declined like a $280 million deal and over $130 million guaranteed money. He declined that. And we have to keep in mind he's his own agent here, so he has got no one advising him on what to do, which probably would have helped in that scenario because that's a pretty good deal, I would feel like. But hey, he's betting on himself. He says he wants Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes type money, and today he really showed it. And I think he goes out and wins the division. For the Ravens, they're going to be wanting to pay him what he wants.
Yeah, I completely agree about Lamar Jackson. He right now, I know you just said he declined that deal. He's looking for $230 million guaranteed. And I think he might be able to get it. And if it's not from the Ravens, it will be from somebody else. I mean, if he hits the open market, things could get crazy. Now, I think they would use the franchise tag next season, which
That's
would
true.
kind of suck for him. But I also heard things, that if they do use the franchise tag, that he will just say fuck it and sit out, the first, who knows how long until they get
him a deal.
So who knows? But been seeing lots of stuff that Dolphins fans want him, even though they love hyping up Tua. At the same time, they're so quick to stab him in the back and get Lamar Jackson back to Miami. But yeah, my next division, AFC South. This one doesn't look as great now. I had the Colts winning it, Titans coming in second, Jaguars in third, and the Texans in fourth.
I had the exact same order.
Yeah. There's just not a whole lot to discuss there. I think Matty Ice, he could be decent, and he was decent today when they finally got their offense going. And Jonathan Taylor had over 160 yards and a touchdown. So we'll see. But
why'd you say it wasn't looking so good?
Because the Titans just looked really bad today. Oh. And, at the end of the day, the Colts did tie the Texans. So maybe they really aren't.
But it's week one.
It is week one.
I think the Texans were playing with a lot of heart.
Yes, they definitely were.
Their defensive backs seemed to get a hand on everything. Their defense was playing really good. So,
and they have a lot to get over. They sucked last year, and they've had this looming black cloud of the Deshaun Watson thing looming over their heads, and now they're kind of freed from it. At least the players' side of it are. And they can kind of just go out there and play, even though they don't have a whole lot of talent, especially on offense. But yeah.
I think the only battle there is between the Jags and Texans for last. But I think the Jags, with Peterson, and Lawrence in his second year, they need to take a step up, which is literally just a step ahead of the Texans.
Yeah. AFC West. This one is the confusion division for many people. For me, I have
chaos
the Chiefs,
division.
Chiefs winning the division again, Raiders coming in second, Chargers coming in third, and the Broncos coming in fourth. And if I had to redo this today, I would say the Chargers coming in second, but that's not how it works.
Wow. Okay. I also have the Chiefs winning, but I have the Chargers coming in second, and it was tough for me to pick between the Chiefs and Chargers. Ultimately, I was like, Patrick Mahomes is more, he's more experienced. I trust him more, and the Chargers are the Chargers. So that was the dividing decision in that one. And then I have the Broncos in third. Their defense is solid, and the combination of Russ Wilson and Nate Hackett, I think, is going to work out and click really well. Russ has got a great thing of receivers. And then I have the Raiders in last, which is tough because that's what a lot of people have, but I think they're a solid team. But I'm not a believer in Josh McDaniels. And I also wasn't a believer in Devontae Adams being good without Rodgers, but I was proven wrong in that today. So it's more the opposite, but unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my
It's the best division, obviously, in the NFL. But and I think only 3 of them could make the playoffs. I don't think all 4. I don't think it's possible for all 4, but
it's possible, but it would just be incredibly unlikely because they have 6 division games, so they beat up on each other.
How many? I don't know. I don't really know the math. I just know that it's never happened before.
Well, yeah, it's because now there's 3 wild card teams, so you could have a division winner and then all 3 wild card teams from the same division. But it's so incredibly unlikely that.
Yeah, that I just don't see that ever happening because you have the Bengals and stuff like that and other teams, but that may not win the division, but we'll probably still get in. Okay, so that takes us to the NFC East real quick. I have the Eagles 1, Cowboys 2, Commanders 3, and the Giants 4. But this could be a really, really fun division now with the Giants winning.
It's the beast, okay? You can't say, oh, the Giants winning makes them good because they still suck. I think this is more a collapse on the Titans and them really, really underperforming than it is. I mean, the Giants played well, but at the same time, it's the beast. And the Commanders also won, but they played the Jaguars. Eagles had a shootout with the Lions, and the Cowboys are looking like they're going to be in last place, but they're also playing the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. So I thought I was rooting for the Cowboys because I thought it'd be funny if the beast was all undefeated after this week, but it's a hard division to pick. I have the exact same order as you do, though. And I really think the Eagles are going to be good this year. And another thing to note, no team in like a decade has won the beast 2 years in a row. So I'm sorry, Cowboys, but history is not on your side here.
Yeah, and that's not to say that they might not figure it out here. They just don't look good week 1. Mike Machida's team, although I'm a Mike McCarthy stan, so I can't say that.
No, I hate him.
NFC
I'm the complete opposite.
NFC North.
He does not need to coach a team.
Packers 1, Vikings 2, Lions 3, Bears 4. I think the Packers will figure it out. But it wouldn't shock me if the Vikings – I think the Vikings are a playoff team. I'll say that right here, right now. And it wouldn't shock me if they win the North. I've said it for months now. I have a weird feeling about the Vikings, like that they're just going to be good this year. And today was obviously day 1 of the NFL, and they played good. But at the end of the day, Packers don't win in Minnesota very often. So that's another thing to point out about the Packers. It's not only is it week 1, you have to go play in Minnesota, and you barely ever win there anyway. So as a Packers fan, I wouldn't worry about it a whole lot because you're missing your 2 tackles, which is the 2 most important positions. 2 most important positions on the offensive line, in my opinion. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it a whole lot. But the lack of receiver play is a concern. But defense looked great, in my opinion, besides not being able to cover Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's just him being good. But I had the exact same order.
Yeah, and then Lions and Bears could be interchangeable. It's because the Bears won today, so who knows if they can carry this.
But you said that game doesn't count.
It doesn't count, but
it doesn't count.
Well, like we said, it still counts as a win, and winning means everything in the NFL. So yeah.
Next week on Sunday Night Football, the Bears are going to have a better record than the Packers, and it's going to be weird.
Yeah, that's another thing. The Seahawks lead the NFC West right now.
You want to do that division next?
I actually have South and the West. We finish up with the West because it's wild.
I like finishing with the South because it's at the bottom, but I'm a South finisher.
Okay. NFC South. I have the Saints winning it, Bucks coming in second and still making the playoffs. Panthers third, Falcons fourth.
I have the
2 teams that I picked to come in the top 2 are going to get a win today. So
yeah, I have the Bucks winning and the Saints second, and then Panthers and Falcons. I wanted to pick the Saints first, but I'm like Tom Brady. He's so consistent there, and the Saints just have major wild card energy to me. Like, I don't know if you know, like, they are such a playoff team, but like they don't carry like the weight of a Super Bowl contender. So that to me gives me wild card energy, and that screams second place. So
I actually think the opposite. I said that they're going to win the division here, but it would not shock me if they come second in the division and are a wild card team that you, like you said, you don't really expect to win the Super Bowl. But I think if they get into the playoffs, they might cause havoc and like win 2 or 3 games and get all the way either to the Super Bowl or the conference championship. I just think that they are a chaotic team and they don't have to worry about short arm Breeze anymore. And I don't know, Sean Payton, I think he's a hell of a coach, but they just couldn't get it done with him in the playoffs for some reason. So I hope Mr. Dennis can figure it out for him.
yeah, no, I disagree. I think the Bucks are going to win, and then
Yeah.
the last division.
I mean,
Since
they
you're a
look
West
great right
finisher
now.
for some reason, you like to finish West. I
I did it in
South.
alphabetical order, to be honest. If you do a little alphabetizing here,
Okay.
it's in alphabetical order.
I do it directional order. I do North, then East, then West, and then South. I don't know why. I don't know why I put East above West either, but
then
it just happens.
If you do it directionally, it would be northeast, southwest, which is exactly how.
No, that's in a circle. I'm doing it like from top to bottom.
Okay.
I go top to bottom. Yeah, I'll admit it.
Okay. NFC West, I have the Rams winning it, the Cardinals coming in second, and the 49ers in third, and the Seahawks in fourth. So the complete opposite of what the standings are right now.
Wait, say that again.
I have the Rams in first, Cardinals in second, 49ers in third, and Seahawks in fourth, which is the complete opposite of what the standings are right now.
I have the Rams in first also. Then I have the 49ers in second, the Cardinals in third, and then, of course, the Seahawks in last. That's a pretty easy one. But those three teams are really interchangeable. I don't think the Cardinals have the capability to win the division just simply because, with Call of Duty coming out in mid-October and then Cliff Kingsbury and his history of collapsing at the end of the year. They just don't have division-winning vibes.
And
the other two I can.
They don't have big game-winning vibes after today. I mean, it's week 1, but still.
I think it was just the Chiefs, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely just have to see.
It's a tough team for them for sure. And that's it. All right, so you have playoffs? I have seeding order.
I don't have seeding order, to be honest, but this is what I do have. I do, if we want to just get straight.
Sure, I can give my seeding order. You can just think of one real quick while I give mine. So in the AFC, since we started the AFC, I had the Bills finishing 1. They have an easy division, and they're a really good team. I think that makes for a perfect 1-seed combination. Then I have the Chiefs 2. The Ravens I had 3, I do believe, and then the Colts 4th. The 5 seed, I had the Chargers. 6, I had the Bengals. And 7, I do believe I came in with the Broncos. It was tough. I was deciding really hard between the Dolphins and Broncos, but I went to the Broncos. And then in the NFC, I had the Rams at 1. Then I had the Eagles as the 2 seed. Very, very shocking thing there. And then, who's it? The Packers I had at 3, and then the Bucks at 4. And then wild card teams, I forget who I think I had the Vikings at 5, the 49ers at 6, and the Saints at 7, I want to say.
I don't really remember exactly what winning the division gets you. And if it's like you win, you're in the division you're in. But if that does anything for seeding, I think it just has something to do with home
top
playoff
4
games.
Yeah, you're a top 4 seed.
Okay. And the AFC, I had the Bills being the 1 seed, the Chiefs being the 2 seed, the Ravens being the 3 seed, and then I had the Colts obviously being the 4 seed because they win the South, and then I have the Raiders being the 5 seed, and then I have the Bengals being the 6 seed, and the Dolphins squeaking in at the 17. Not the Dolphins. Sorry, the Chargers squeaking in at the 7 seed for the first time because they did not get in last year.
So very similar to mine. We both had the Dolphins barely missing. I love it.
I had them in for a second in my head, but I was like, wait, no. I'm sorry. I have 3 teams from the West getting in. So,
yeah.
And then, did you do the NFC? I did.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the. Who was my 1 seed?
Your Rams.
Yeah, like
Saints.
I said, I didn't have the seeding done beforehand because I don't know, but I really don't think the Rams are a 1 seed. So I'll just go balls to the wall and say Saints 1,
Wow.
Eagles 2, Rams 3, Packers 4, Vikings 5, Buccaneers 6, and shit, I want them in.
Cardinals?
Yeah, I want them in, I think. Cardinals 7.
So the 49ers missing the playoffs in yours.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a shitter team with Trey Lance. I'm sorry.
They got a good defense, though.
I'm sorry. I think he was a shitter.
You're not a defensive fan. You have the Broncos missing the playoffs, too.
Oh, I have the Broncos finishing 4th in the West.
Yeah. That's like finishing 2nd in any other division, though, really.
Yeah, I don't know how good they're going to be. I'm not sure. I think it might be next year is the year that they're good, which is a weird thing to say. But
I think they're going to be like Super Bowl level good next year. But
yeah, I just think they need a year to get everything situated.
All right, and then one last thing before we finish this up. Super Bowl predictions and then championship predictions.
Okay. I have the AFC champions, the Chiefs.
Oh,
and then
over the Bills?
No, actually. Oh. No. Over Chiefs over I think I had them over the Ravens.
Okay.
So it'll be a wild one. I think in that game will be played in Kansas City. And
I'm just going to tell you right now that you had the Chiefs as your 2 seed and the Ravens as your 3 seed.
Is that not possible? I'm not sure.
So if they were to both win their first round matchups, they would play in the divisional round.
Okay, so it's not even possible. I didn't do the math. See?
Yeah.
This is the problem with not making the seeding before. Then yeah, I guess it's just the Bills. No, but no. I have the Chiefs, the 2 seed Chiefs playing the 3 seed Ravens in the championship.
Okay. Yeah, definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I have the Bills beating the Chiefs in the championship. Very basic prediction, but I think those are the 2 best teams in the AFC. I think they'll match up, and I think the Bills will get their revenge. I think it'll be another fun game like it was last year. I just think the Bills will have a slight edge on the Chiefs this year. And the home field advantage, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is how I actually think it's going to happen. I think the Bills are going to have to play the Ravens somehow in the playoffs, and it will be in Buffalo. But Lamar Jackson got shit on against the Bills last time in the playoffs, and I think he's just going to go off, and that's going to be like the deal sealer for his contract thing. But yeah. Yeah,
NFC?
My NFC champ, I have the Saints over I think I had the Saints over the Buccaneers, and I don't think that's possible either with my seeding.
No, I think so.
I don't know if that's possible.
If you have the 7 seed where you had the 7 seed Cardinals upsetting the Eagles in the first round.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Okay.
To the Eagles, but
yeah, I also had the Eagles as my 2 seed. I thought that was kind of a hot take, but here you come with the Saints at 1. That's more of a hot take. So, and the Saints going to the Super Bowl.
I'm a Jameis ride or die. What can I say?
So are you on the Jameis bird slaughtering tour this year?
Oh yeah, if it flies, it dies.
Yeah. He completed it, or he started the completion of it this week.
Want to know that? But the bad thing is he has to play them twice. So hard to beat a team twice, but they will be at home.
Good thing they suck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say how good the Falcons are from this week one. I mean, they weren't in it.
So basically, what are the teams that he has to beat? He has to beat the Eagles, the Ravens, and then the Falcons twice. Is there any other bird teams?
I thought they played the Seahawks, but I don't.
Oh, the Seahawks. Okay,
I can't.
That makes sense.
Can't confirm.
No, they play every single bird team. I can't think of it.
Oh, well, then they have to play the Cardinals too. Shit.
It's like one of the first times.
Yeah, you already said Eagles. My bad. I think that's all the birds.
See, so they play the Seahawks week 5, Cardinals week 7, Ravens week 9, and then Falcons again in week 15, and then the Eagles in week 17. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games against bird teams. I think it's the first time in history that like a quarterback has the opportunity to play all the bird teams in 1 year. So very fun stat to look out for anyway.
Yeah.
And then in the Super Bowl, you have, what you say, Chiefs and Saints?
Yeah. And by the way, I know I'm a huge Jameis guy, but I don't think Jameis is going to carry him to the Super Bowl. I think it's the defense first off. Okay. I want to put that out there that I have great faith in this defense and their special teams. So yeah, but then I just have the Chiefs beating the Saints in the Super Bowl.
Okay. So you had all the Saints, like the big run of destiny, and then just kind of like the Bengals last year, just losing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I have the Bills sealing the deal, completing the job. As I said earlier, they have 2016 Cubs vibes, and I have them beating the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Oh, I never said my AFC or my NFC predictions. I have the Buccaneers beating the Packers.
Okay.
I don't know. I hate picking the Bucs because it's.
If the Buccaneers play the Bills in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady wins. I'm sorry. I just think he would.
I don't think so. I think the Buccaneers or the Bills are too good.
Especially too, the refs might be in his hand pocket.
That would definitely be the case. But
if Tom Brady plays in the Super Bowl this year, so the Bills need to really hope that Tom Brady does not get to the Super Bowl. And he's so good against the Bills over the history. I mean, how they beat the Bills last year.
I know.
And then the Bills got hot, though. But I remember the Bills.
It's a new year.
I know. A lot of people are high on the Bills. So am I, man. I think I could easily see them winning the Super Bowl, too. But what can I say, man? I think Mahomes is the GOAT. I think he'll probably end up being the GOAT. Maybe not have as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady, but he'll be up there. So I'm going to read off some of my award predictions here. MVP, I have Patrick Mahomes. I think you said you have him as your MVP too. We're both off to a hot start there. I think he threw 4 or 5 touchdowns.
5.
Sweet. And then my offensive rookie of the year, Drake London. So yeah, and then defensive rookie of the year, I have Sauce Gardner. He was pretty good today. And I think he's just going to beat out Derek Stingley. My ground player of the year, I have Derrick Henry coming back for a vengeance, but now that one doesn't look as hot after today because the Titans just didn't look very good. Offensive player of the year, I have Justin Jefferson. My defensive player of the year, I had TJ Watt, but he's already dead. So that sucks. This one is just completely out there. There's no stats that line up with this. I have my Walter Payton Man of the Year, Cam Hayward.
Okay, that's an interesting prediction.
And then my coach of the year is Andy Reid. So nice.
He sent out Justin Reid to kick an extra point today.
Yeah, I know. That was awesome.
That was fun. I'll be honest, I didn't do any predictions other than MVP. So I'm not going to do rookies because that would just I can't even think of any rookies right now other than the ones you just said. I'll do Chris Olave, offensive rookie of the year, though. Yeah,
I actually hit him. I had him down as my offensive rookie of the year like about a week and a half ago, and then I saw Peter King, the sports writer. He was like, I have Chris Olave as my offensive rookie of the year, and I said, okay, I'm changing it. So, I don't
Okay,
know.
well,
I just
mine.
don't agree with Peter very often. So,
All right. Well, I do agree with Peter. That's just an instinct that I just had on that one. And then offensive player of the year, I agree with you on the Justin Jefferson. He's just so electric and so fun, and I think he's going to have a massive year. Just some of the catches he was making today, I'm like, man, Kirk is really not that good, but Justin Jefferson is making it look amazing. And
that's another thing. We kind of forgot to talk about some of the big catches today. Deontay Johnson had probably the best catch of his career, that one-handed grab. And then Jamar Chase had an unreal one-handed catch, and it got called back. So that kind of sucked. But just all kinds of awesome catches today as well. Jahan Dotson had one catch in the back of the end zone where he reached around the defender in the football team game, and that was an awesome catch by a rookie. So just some good catches today.
yeah, for sure.
Also, Cooper Kupp, we didn't really talk about him, but he looked fine. He had 120-something yards, a touchdown, and he's pretty much the only guy that Stafford looked to.
Yeah, we didn't really talk too much about Stafford being racist.
Yeah.
That theory out there that he's a racist, only targeting black receivers 3 times the entire night.
Yeah.
So,
but people forget he did have Calvin Johnson, who is black, and made him a Hall of Famer.
As I saw people were saying, even a racist would target Calvin Johnson, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. You get the biggest racist out here, and you tell them you throw to Calvin Johnson, they would do it. So that's my counter argument to that. And
that's a good argument. I don't know.
And I think that's about it. Oh, yeah. Awards. I'm going to do my coach of the year because I forgot what the other awards were. Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. I think he's going to win it. One. I think they're going to have a good season this year. Yeah, Brandon Staley could be another one too, but I don't know. You can't really pick a Chargers player.
Yeah, I don't know. That division is just chaos, man.
Yeah,
and then Mahomes. So he'll probably
Mahomes. All right, I guess we can. That'll wrap up football talk. We have a little over an hour, so we can finish up the show here with Cardinals baseball talk. We can't do a show without it right now. Albert Pujols is just too amazing. Last night he tied Alex Rodriguez on the all-time home run record for 4th all-time, and today he passed him with a go-ahead home run in the top of the 9th inning. It kind of got overshadowed because I was all football, and then just for a second I looked at the score, saw Albert was up, turned on the game for a half second, saw him pimp the home run. It was just got caught up in everything. There was actually a cool story afterwards that the people who caught that home run ball actually went into the locker room to give it back to him, since it was him passing Arod, and he told him to keep it, and he actually gave him another signed ball. So that's kind of a cool story there. He inches closer to 700, and in the last episode, I do believe I said there is no chance that he gets to 700. A lot of time
and games have been passed since we last recorded, so
I know. I don't want to give up on a take, but I am not confident in that at all. I think he's going to get it. I mean, he's only 3 away. We have 20 games left, and he needs 3. And we have an 8-game leads in the division, so towards the end of the year, we have an 8-game lead still with 2 weeks left. He's going to be playing every single day. So there's no universe unless he dies that he doesn't get it. So I'm pulling back. That take. I'm regretting it. So
that's fine. I'm okay with that. And maybe he gave back that ball because he knows he's going to hit 700.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
That's the ball.
Also, one thing that kind of keeps me awake at night is, what if he gets 699? I don't
stuck there.
Yeah, I don't like the feeling of, I know it's the goodbye tour, but I almost feel like you just gotta bring him back, and then as soon as he hits 700, he can just retire. I know that there's a lot of training. There's a lot of training that obviously goes into being a baseball player. He'd have to keep his body up for a full another off season, which he's probably ready to just get fat. I mean, he's halfway there already. So I don't blame him.
He was there last year.
I mean, I would be ready to just fat, But but also if I was at 699, I'm trying to get 700, man. So,
but here's the thing: he's not going to finish with. He's getting 700. He'll probably actually get more than 700. Finish like 702 or something like that. So,
yeah,
or maybe he will just pull like a Roberto Clemente. He had 3,000 hits on the dot, and then he died in the offseason.
Yeah,
maybe Albert Pujols will just hit 700 and then retire, and just have it right on the dot. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. It would be nice. I know we have 21 games left, but if he could just have a night where he hits 2, that would be nice to give us some breathing room. And we still have some shitters on the schedule, luckily. So
we have a ton on the schedule. Actually, this week was a big week
for
that.
Runs, not to be a conspiracy, but all of his home runs, they just look like they're thrown right down Main Street. I just can't help but look at it.
Did you see the one today?
It's crazy.
It was out of the strike zone.
Oh, well, the one, the 696 was just top of the zone, and it did not look like it had that much heat on it, and he just killed it. So I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but maybe.
Well, I think there are some times where maybe they do that, but if you look at any batter, there's sometimes Paul Goldschmidt will get a fastball right down the middle and he just doesn't swing at it because he's not expecting it. But I mean, Yachty calls fastballs down the middle all the time. I was watching the game yesterday with Jack Flaherty and he threw 10 fastballs right down the middle. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it really has anything to do with,
I definitely don't. I'm just saying it's maybe I can't believe it sometimes. Maybe it's just another thing. I can't believe they're throwing it right down Main Street to Albert Pujols when he's so hot right now too. It's that's another thing. What are you doing? But maybe that's why you play for the Pirates or something. I don't know, but so yeah.
Another fun stat: Albert Pujols, even before the home run today, he has more home runs at PNC Park than any current Pittsburgh player. So, I mean, Brian Reynolds, he passed him on the leader at PNC Park with the home run yesterday, and he's the leader on the Pirates right now. So, it's just a fun stat to throw out there that he has more career home runs than any Pirate at the Pirates Stadium.
Do you know what that number is?
I could find it if you give me
Oh, okay, that's
30
I was
seconds.
Just wondering. It
was a 9. It was 29. It was either 19 or 29. So today he got a clean number. I think it was Mr. Jeff Jones, who is a great writer for the Cardinals, but he also maybe robbed a bank, allegedly. Let's see if I can find it.
One thing I want to, while Luke looks for that, we will, for the NFL shows, the NFL talk, we're going to try and get as good as we can at the 30-second segment part at the beginning so that it kind of flows better. But it
didn't flow very well today at all.
No, but it was a week 1 for everybody kind of situation. So, yeah, but we're going to try and get better at that for sure. So just bear with us.
And another thing, we talked about maybe doing 2 shows a week, but both me and Cam are pretty busy, so that may or may not happen. Maybe if one night, a Thursday night, we don't have anything, and we'll just get on and talk during Thursday Night Football about it and just preview the week or something. But it might not be an every week thing. So I did find it. Pujols hit his 33rd home run at PNC Park yesterday, so now he has 34 career home runs at PNC Park, which is more than any active Pirate. And he's also on pace to have the second highest single season runs created plus at an age 42 or older season in history. I don't know who's number 1, but I just saw that too when I opened up the Twitter machine. He's behind Cap Anson.
Yeah.
Who's a guy who played in the 1800s, so he's fake.
One thing, I know we kind of finished up football, and, the big thing to watch out for the Cardinals right now is it looks like we'll secure the division here coming up shortly, and obviously Albert watch. But interesting weekend of college football. I just want to talk about the Fun Belt for just a quick second.
Yeah, we need to. That could be a say hello. Say hello segment.
Say hello to the Fun Belt, although I have known the Fun Belt for many, many years. The Sun Belt Conference, man, was on one this weekend. We had, first off, I mean, this is another game to just, you tip your cap. Georgia State at home almost beat North Carolina. The final score was 35-28. And so that would have been a big one, but they covered. Arkansas State, Sun Belt team, covered against Ohio State. Southern Mississippi covered against Miami. And then we get into the real nitty-gritty of the Sun Belt here. We had Appalachian State go all the way down to College Station, who was ranked number 6 in the nation, and they won 17-14 over Texas A&M, unranked 0-1. Appalachian State Mountaineers go in to Aggieville and shock the nation.
The Aggies. Shocked Mr. Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah. And although I'm not going to lie, I was very shell-shocked by it, but also I literally watched the Appalachian State team for 4 hours last weekend because that's how long the game was. And, I mean, Appalachian State is really good. And they have like 25 and 26-year-old players on their team, just grown-ass men. And, Texas A&M is really young. They had one of the best recruiting classes in the history of recruiting this past season. But, hey, man, that doesn't that didn't really matter. And App State controlled the ball for like 44 minutes of the game, which was just insane. I mean, it was like having chew clock on conservative run ball mode on like Madden or NCAA 14 and just chewing the clock all game long. And they got out there with a win. And Haynes King, Texas A&M's quarterback, was bad, to say the least. And, yeah, App State shocked the world. Now they get College game day this week. So, yeah. And then we had Marshall. We are Marshall. This one, I was way into this one. If you know anything about me, I hate Notre Shame with a passion. And so Marshall won the week before, like 55 to like 7 or something like that. But it was against like a really shitty school. People are like, well, they're not going to be able to do that against Notre Dame, which is true, right? But they went there and they scored 26 points. And they get the win over Notre Dame. Sam Buckner, Notre Dame's quarterback, was a shitta down the stretch, to say the least. And the face he made when they lost the game was just unreal, just beautiful. Just the beautiful sight of Notre Dame fans just being in utter shock. I hate those people, man. They are the worst. I've been there. I experienced the Notre Dame stadium, just arrogance, and it was just beautiful to watch. And we are Marshall, man. Roll Thunder and Herd, big gangrene. Let's go. Marshall got the win at Notre Dame, and it was beautiful. And then to cap the night, just a quick little nightcapper. Luke, you're muted. Just a quick little nightcapper. Georgia Southern goes up to Nebraska and cans Coach Frost, seals the deal, and it was just beautiful. They had 652 offensive yards, the most ever at Lincoln Memorial Stadium, and it was beautiful. I mean, they went up there, and it was just like a nice little piece of the Sun Belt for the rest of the nation to hold on to, and they sealed the deal. And although I'm sure Nebraska fans are relieved. So, yeah, they might be calling Urban Meyer. So, yeah. Luke, you are muted, just so you know that.
Whoops. And that's why you didn't hear me earlier, I guess. Yeah, so I was laughing at that joke. That was funny. Nebraska fans are ecstatic about that loss because it can't. But one thing I was going to say about Notre Dame, they're 0-2. And they still have to play teams like Clemson and BYU and another really high-ranked team, I forget. But they have a really tough schedule. They are going to be fighting for a bowl game at the end of the year, which is kind of funny to think about. Notre Dame on the ropes with a bowl game. But Marcus Freeman with the worst start of any Notre Dame coach in history.
Yeah, and they're one of 4 teams that are Power 5 that don't have a win. Boston
Are
College.
they Power 5?
See, that's another thing. I don't know how you can consider them Power 5 when they're not in a conference, but technically they play just as many
Power 5
ACC
schedule.
games
Yeah.
as pretty much the ACC does, like a regular ACC team does. So I guess they consider them Power 5. I mean, it's Notre Dame, they're pretty much Power 5. But it's
What
like
happened to Dak?
Notre Dame, West Virginia, Boston College, all those teams don't have a win right now. And yeah, it's sad. And I don't know if Notre Dame plays this weekend, but they play North Carolina in 2 weeks. And North Carolina has a bye week this week because North Carolina is already 3-0 because they played in week 0. But
who did West Virginia lose to this week?
Kansas. That's another thing.
Oh,
Kansas is 2-0. 2-0, folks, and are at the top of the Big 12 standings right now. Coach Leopold has the Jayhawks right where they want to be. And it's an insane world. I could not believe the letters I was typing on my phone to my father when I said, "Is Kansas better than us?" And I was talking about Mizzou football.
No.
I don't know.
I think we're going to find out in a few weeks when Kansas plays Kansas State because
that's true.
We certainly did not look good against Kansas State.
Yeah, we lost by 4 touchdowns. Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess we can have a brief note about that game before we wrap up this podcast.
Yeah,
I just want to say
this is a Missouri podcast, but yeah,
yeah, that's true. Well, this is something that we are not proud to talk about, though. This was an embarrassment to the state. The offense was an eyesore, to say the least. There was one time where we went a span of 5 passes and we threw 4 interceptions out of those 5 passes. It just looks bad. I mean, when we have 3rd and 12, we're throwing dump off passes and screen passes and shovel passes and, slants for 5 yards across the middle. We have no urgency at all on offense. The defense didn't look bad. We just kind of got carved up by Deuce Vaughn, which we talked about, which, you can't really blame the defense for that. They didn't look terrible in the SEC. They're going to play. They're going to play in the SEC. But this offense has got to turn it around, man. It was just brutal to watch. I could not watch it. I physically could not watch it. I had to turn it off and go to the Texas-Alabama game. It was just terrible.
Yeah. And like you said, through 3 quarters, the Mizzou defense was awesome. I think they did give up in the 4th quarter, and I don't blame them. They had no support. Like, the game was already over. But they played 3 good quarters. And I know the score doesn't reflect it. Like we said, they lost 40-12. But Kansas State actually had a couple touchdowns in the 4th quarter. But like Luke said, we had so many turnovers. It was laughable. I mean, it was just horrible. And that game actually reminded me of the Bears game today in terms of field conditions. It was just a slop fest. And actually that game got delayed multiple times, which was actually kind of nice to have a little treat to watch after the Texas and Alabama game concluded, but it was no treat. That's for sure.
No.
It was so bad.
Preferred that game to be over sooner.
Yeah, it was just disgusting, like the field there at Kansas State. But, and this goes for the NFL and college football alike. If you don't have a quarterback, then you are not relevant in college football or in the NFL. And that's just how it is. And right now, Mizzou, they have Brady Cook out there, but he had happy feet the whole game, and he was running pretty much any chance he got, and he was not finding guys down the field, and it was a shit show. And I'll be the first one to say it. Mizzou needs an offensive coordinator and not just Coach Drink calling the plays. But obviously it's a little late for that right now as the season's already 2 games in, but –
yeah, and another thing about that is that was one of Coach Drink's evaluation games.
Yep,
remember at the beginning when we said there was 4 wins, guaranteed wins, and 3 guaranteed losses. But the other ones were all evaluation games, and this was one of them, and not a good start to them. And so far, I mean, one of the evaluation games is Florida, and they're ranked 18th now. One of them was Tennessee, and they just had an amazing game against Pitt. So those 2 games are going to be even harder to win now. So that leaves you down to Auburn and South Carolina.
Yeah, and we
as the
also
winnable games.
included Vanderbilt because it was before the season started in their guaranteed wins.
Yeah.
That is no guaranteed wins. That has been upgraded to a,
A
more of a
worrisome
coin
game.
flip game. I don't know if it's
I don't
in
know. I
my
don't think. No, I
for
wouldn't say
me
coin flip.
it's up to an evaluation game for me.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning of the season it was not because I had no idea about Vanderbilt's quarterback and their jerseys look sick this year. So yeah, that helps, but I don't know, man. I re-looked at the schedule after watching Florida. Florida did not look good this weekend. Their defense looked good, but Anthony Richardson, he went from Heisman hopeful to he's got a lot to work on, which is whatever. But I mean,
wait. So why are you saying that Vanderbilt's? Are you saying like they're good, or Mizzou's
I'm not
just that
saying
bad?
that Vanderbilt's good. I don't even think they'll be a bowl team.
Are you saying that they're better than what you thought they were going to be?
Yes, way better.
Really? I
And
don't think so at all. I think they still suck.
I don't.
They beat a terrible FCS school in Elon, and then they beat Hawaii, which is basically an FCS
but
school.
they hung in there with Sam Hartman and Wake Forest.
They lost by 3 touchdowns.
They did, but they hung in there. They definitely did. I checked in on that game here and there, and I'm just saying I don't think this is that's definitely not a game where you can just mail it in if you're Mizzou and get the win.
I don't think it is either, but I wouldn't say it's like an evaluation game. I'd upgrade it to a worrisome game, like a game that if we don't play, if we're not on our best, we could be in for some trouble.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
I would also say after watching this game at Kansas State that we have more automatic loss games instead of evaluation games. I'm sorry. We do. Like evaluation games have been bumped up to guaranteed loss games. We now have, in my eyes, now I'm a Heupel believer and it's paying off right now, but I'm a Heupel believer and the Tennessee game is bumped up to an automatic loss.
I would agree.
The Kentucky game is bumped up to an automatic loss.
That was an automatic loss
already. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Georgia automatic loss.
We already had that one too.
And I think Florida very well could be an automatic loss. So we're sitting at 4 here.
I could be wrong here, but I don't. Did we have Arkansas as an evaluation game too?
Yeah, we did.
That's definitely
and that's an automatic loss. I forget that. That's on Black Friday every year. That's an automatic loss, man. You might as well mail it in. It is just not looking good. So, our evaluation games left are Auburn, who I think might get smoked this weekend by Penn State. Not for sure because Penn State's not that good, but they might get smoked.
I am actually confident in winning the Auburn game.
I hope we do, but it's a road game. It's a fucking road game, and we just saw what happens when we're supposed to show up for big road games, and we actually do not do that. So, we've got Abilene Christian this Saturday, not even really on SEC Network. It's barely televised. You're going to have to watch it on your laptop if you want to at 11 a.m.
Well, I'm going to it, so I can just watch it with my eyes.
Oh, nice.
But
nice.
Yeah. It's my first ever college Mizzou game going to. So,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Never been to an NFL game either. So, really my first big game, really ever, football game. So
nice.
Going to that, and then a few weeks later, got tickets for the first ever Cardinals, or the first game of the playoffs. So, 2 really big games in a row for me.
Well, this Mizzou game is probably not going to be a big game, but
well, it's a big game for me. Yeah. Self.
Yeah. After re-looking at the Mizzou schedule, I'm very, very worried that they will not make a bowl game. So
I'm looking at it right now. Abilene Christian's a win. Auburn, that's a potential win. So that could be 3. New Mexico State, that's a win. That's 4. Vanderbilt should be a win. That's 5.
And that's it.
But then you need a 6th win to make a bowl game. And our best chance is South Carolina. In South Carolina. Otherwise, we got to beat like a Tennessee or an Arkansas or a Florida. Or even a Kentucky. I'm worried, man. Coach Drink's he's got to work fast here. He's got to prepare well. So, all right. Well, we're at about an hour and 30 minutes. So I think it's time that we wrap this up. I got to do some homework and then go to bed. So, Yeah, episode 26. It took a little bit for this one to get out, but hopefully you guys like the new format and all that. I like it. It's a lot easier to edit. I'll tell you that. And we didn't recap it, but the Buccaneers look like they're going to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
There's about 2 minutes left. Terrible offensive showing from the Cowboys.
Neither of us have this game like where we can hear what's going on, so neither of us know what happened to Dak.
Yeah, but yeah, Cooper Rush is in the game right now. So
yeah, so it's kind of a mystery to us as well.
I just looked up and they were showing like a graphic at Cooper Rush, and I was like, wait a second, why is he in the game?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Overthrows CeeDee Lamb, that wide open CeeDee
Lamb,
but
on 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a little bit behind you. He just threw a dot to a receiver. Yeah, he's lined up for 3rd and 3 on mine. I don't know why you're ahead of me.
I think because I actually have cable.
Way overthrew him.
Yeah. He was open too. Not a good look.
Oh, man.
God, people are going to be on Mike McCarthy's ass for this.
I hope he's canned. He's canned after the year. I hope they miss the playoffs. I hate him. He's a terrible football coach. He does not know ball. So
won a Super Bowl,
right.
But yeah. All right, yeah. That's our show.
So you may or may not see us back. Stay tuned for a potential Thursday night, Friday. Actually, it'll be come out on Friday recording for next week. So it may or may not happen. I'm warning you, but stay tuned. Follow the Twitter. And yeah, thank you for listening. Have a great week.
See you guys.
How do I stop this? Oh, right here. See you guys.